Well, hello there to all the good people of Ohio and beyond. This is Aaron Knapp, and you're tuned into Unplugged, broadcasting without permission. This is a place where the truth gets louder and we dig deeper, and where we always remember be lawful, not awful. If you want the full stories, the documents, the videos, and everything they don't want you to see, head on over to AaronKnappUnplugged.com, my new home for every investigation, every episode, and every update. And while you're here, be sure to like the video, follow the page, and hit subscribe, and share this with someone who needs the truth. We're building something real here. We're building something fearless, and we're doing it together. Welcome to Unplugged. Let's kick this thing off. Well, hello.
Plug with Nap. Yeah, we cut through the noise. No script, no leash, no polished decoys. Broadcasting without permission. We don't ask. We lift the curtain and we drop the mask. Unplug with Nap. Yeah, we cut through the noise. No script, no leash, no polished decoys. Broadcasting without permission. We don't ask. We lift the curtain and we drop the mask. Unplug with Nap. Yeah, we cut through the noise. No script, no leash, no polished decoys. Broadcasting without permission. We don't ask.
Down to all of our departments and assure that as part of our regular checklist that we have for many projects, that we can visit this. This is not a common area because we typically don't waive fees. So it's one of those areas that we'll revisit here as we move along.
Thank you, Mr. Carrion.
Say something? Then why aren't we?
Mr.
Say something? Then why are we? You want to get an
Knapp.
attitude? You work for me, carry on. Yeah, get it. Do it.
Mr. Knapp, let's have it.
No, your employee is
Safe.
addressing me, sir.
Safe.
No.
Excuse me, President Arredondo.
You better calm down, bro.
President Arredondo.
Madam Sprigowski.
At this point, I would move to a point of order and ask that you recess the meeting until this gets all straightened out, because this is disruptive to our agenda.
Down to all of our departments and assure.
How about now? Sure about that? Hold on. Test.
Check, 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 check. All right, there we go. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. That's right. All right. Good evening, Lorraine City and Lorraine County. It's good to see you. Aaron Knapp here tonight. Guess what? We're live here in Lorraine City, the place where your rights go to die. That's right, folks. Your rights will go to die here tonight. And that's what you're going to see. Chief Fallon, Chief Negro of this goddamn town. I love people of color. I really do. But Mr. Fallon is really starting to let me down. He's starting to look like a white guy. Like, I've never seen a black police chief act so white in my life. But tonight, what we got tonight? What do we got tonight? Tonight, I got pulled over, leaving my home. Hadn't left all day. Drove out. Got pulled over on a bogus traffic stop. Got searched. They stole my phone. I don't really give a shit. I went out and bought a new one. What the fuck over? Like, I'm Gen X, bitches. Do I give a fuck if you take my iPhone? No, I got a flip phone. Now, you think I went to harass Ray Carrion. Guess what? I don't give a fuck about that bitch. I don't give a fuck about Angel Arroyo. I don't give a fuck if he rolls out and says, oh, he's mean to me. He hates Hispanics. No, I don't. I fuck Hispanics. My daughter's half Hispanic. Eat a dick. What you guys need to realize is that what's happened in the last month that's different about Aaron is that in the last month, the VA decided that the city of Lorraine harassed me enough that I could never get a job again. That mentally I was unable to get a job again. And so they're going to pay me for the rest of my life. Tax-free. Think about that. Now, if you were fighting a city for fucking you, and they did fuck me, they stole my job, they stole my livelihood, they stole everything. And they did this. Would you care? No. You wouldn't care. Come get my phone. It's fine. These guys did it in a way they shouldn't have done it. That's cool. They're jackasses. They're following their dumbass chief's orders. Do what the Negro says, right? Because everyone, including myself, has convinced you that's what you got to do. But I don't understand how Mr. Fallon can feel that way, knowing that I promoted him over a racist chief, right? Like, this man had every opportunity to improve the lives of every person of color in that department. And instead, he chose to come after me like McCann did. I just don't get it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Whatever. Who cares? In the grand scheme, here's one of my messages tonight. So to Chief Fallon, fuck off. To all the officers on site tonight, fuck off. To the jackasses in the pit crew who don't know how to dress, fuck off. First off, you're going to roll up on me wearing Keds and a fucking baseball hat like you're some kind of 12-year-old? Fuck off. Dress a little professionally, you piss-drunk cocks. Then you're going to argue with me about whether you gave it to me in the proper stance. You didn't. You waited till I got out of the car. You searched me. You stole it. And then you try to act like you gave me the warrant first, but you didn't. And fuck you. The warrant says you must give it to me first, and you didn't. So fuck you. That's where we're at tonight. Folks, we're going to talk about the warrant. We're going to talk about the pullover. We're going to talk about everything. I'm glad they subpoenaed my phone. There's nothing on it. I've never gone near Ray's house. Fuck Ray. Ray is a dumb-ass, little coochie-ass bitch. He is a little fucking piece of shit. Oh, no, I'm scared of Aaron. I've never fucked with your bitch ass. But you acted like you were a machismo. You're Mr. fucking, machismo, right? I'm Ray. Orale, vatos, I'm Ray. Ese maculo hijo de puta, tú es pendejo viejoto. That's right. But you talk like a white guy. You go, and tonight we're going to excuse this because we normally don't, but we're going to tonight because, why don't we? I'm sorry, did you say something? Did you say something? Dude, you about as white as they come. If I were Hispanic, I would disown you. Like, honestly, my daughter's Hispanic. I disown you. You brought a restraining order against me.
against you and your wife. I don't even know who your wife is or where you live. I don't give a fuck. I don't care about Ray Carrion. He's a non-participant. He's a non-existent. He's a dumbass, stupid motherfucker who apparently needs a translator to understand English. Because he checked it on the box on his protection order. So you guys would say, oh, Aaron, you're a pain, yes, you're this, you're that. Okay. So Ray's communication was to follow what the judge said and go file his bullshit motion. Problem is, he said in 3 different statements, all I did was say words. Words don't get you, bro. It's not how it works. But hey, whatever, right? Cool. I don't know what to say tonight. I'm dumbfounded by the idiocracy of the city, the county, everyone. But hey, it's great because they're just playing right into my hand. This is more money in my pocket for retirement. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Because tonight's not about one traffic stop. It's not about one officer. It's not about whether someone liked my tone or didn't like my tone in a single moment. Because that's exactly how these situations like this kind of they get buried, right? They get reduced down to something small, something say easy to dismiss, something that allows people to just look away for the bigger picture, right? All right, cool. I get you. But what I am going to do here tonight is lay it all out in full. As a record, as a person who witnessed, experienced, and lived it, as the person who has been documenting it over time, and as the person asserting a claim based on a pattern that did not begin that day, this day, or any other day. It did not end that day, this day, or any other day. Because if you don't look at the full pattern, you're not going to understand what really actually happened, ever. And I don't give a fuck anymore who knows what I say. Because, again, I have been granted my full disability, which is what I've been waiting for quite some time. And I must say, I know I've said it a few times lately, but the city of Lorain helped me get there. They kept telling everybody how fucked up I was, including Chief McCann. He's unhinged. He's fucked up. So I couldn't get a job. So when I reported that to the VA, they said, well, fuck, he must be fucked up. He can't get a job. I mean, he made it happen. Like he says, make it happen. He sold them a bill of sale on me that was untrue. In the meantime, you got a Lorain Police Department that's ejected him like the little bitch that he was. But they're still going after me so hard in a way that's unbelievable. I get why Chief Allen was like, you know who got you the job, bro. I mean, if it wasn't for his family sending me the paperwork, we would have never taken out McCann. But we did. And that's why you're sad, because really, I'd be sad too. As a black police chief who rose to the ranks of the Lorain Police Department, who should be advocating for African Americans, should be going, look, we have been discriminated against for all of our lives. We make up 22% of the juvenile justice population while making up only 12% of the juvenile population. Doesn't make sense. We got to fix this. No, instead you go after the white guy and go, he's an asshole. The guy that went after the chief, who was a racist, so I stood up for Fallon because Chief McCann used the N-word once. And he said, well, I don't think that now, but you did then. So you used the N-word. You used bigger with an N. And bigger with an N is bad. And then I also stood up for the chief of police who said that the one homosexual guy in the entire department, Officer Galinas, was mad that McCann did what he did. So he called him Gayliness, is what Officer McCann, what Captain McCann or Chief McCann called him, Gayliness. He got chastised, had to go to a class. So then what you're really saying is that since now Chief Fallon and Officer Galinas have now brought charges against me in regards to all this because of what McCann did, then I should just say, fuck it. We got Officer Gayliness in his fairy socks, like McCann said, right? I stood up for you when he said that. So why would you attack me now? I don't believe that about you. I don't. I think you have the right to love and be with who you want to be with. But you don't see that. Same thing with Chief Fallon. And man, look, you're the first African American chief of police in a long time, ever, if not. Yeah, you had a Hispanic one, but you're a fucking road mark, bro. Like you were supposed to be the one that said this is what changes it all. And instead you're acting like him. I'm just blown away. You guys do what you want. Pull me over on the side of the road, steal my phone. It doesn't matter. I didn't harass Ray. I didn't harass Mr. fucking Arroyo. I don't give a fuck about these motherfuckers enough to care. You act like I care. I don't even care enough to be racist. I don't fucking care about either of them. I never said a word. I never wrote any of the bad things they said I may have written. I never said anything bad things they may have said I may have said. I don't give a fuck about you, Ray. You're nothing. You're less than nothing. You're the fucking dust beneath my feet. I wouldn't chastise or put myself in a position to ever be in trouble for you, ever, because you're a piece of shit. And I'm not speaking from the outside looking in. I'm not speculating about something that, what something might mean, right? I'm speaking for direct experience from repeated interactions and documented conduct and a timeline that shows consistency and how this has been handled over time. And when you look at that timeline, honestly, without trying to explain it away piece by piece, the conclusion becomes kind of difficult to deal with, right? And avoid. You start to have a guy and people that see the history that led us here, right? They start to go, he may be a dick, but. So this did not start with a traffic stop. It did not start at the phone or with a phone. It did not start with one officer having a bad day. It goes back to a pattern of interaction with the same department, Lorain PD, and where things are normal until they're not. Where communication exists until it does not. And where the tone shifts the moment accountability becomes part of the conversation, right? They love me when I help them, not when I don't help them. Well, there's been times where interactions were professional, communication was open, no issue. That's important to say because this is not about pretending every interaction that I've ever had with Lorain Police has been negative. It hasn't. That would be very, very inaccurate. And I'm not about inaccuracies. It would not help explain what's happening here. It wouldn't. You guys go, well, fuck, that happened to me, right? No. The issue is not that every interaction is bad, right? The issue is that patterns tend to change when pressures apply. When questions are asked and when documentation starts to exist that puts people in positions or in a position where they have to actually answer for what they're doing, that's problematic for them. And that's when it shifts, right? That's when good morning, Lorain City becomes a problem. That's when the tone changes from good morning, Lorain City. Hey, good morning, Lorain City. It's a beautiful day today. Today we will have nothing happen. There will be blue skies, happy days, no water, no nothing. You're just happy. Enjoy your happy day. Would you like to swing on a star? Carry moonbeams home on a jar? And be better off than you are? Would you rather go to fuck that song? Like, no, we need patient son, baby. Because the issue is not every interaction is bad. The issue is that the pattern changes when pressures apply. When questions are asked and when documentation starts to exist that puts people in position that they have to answer for what they're doing, well, that's when they get pissy, right? Oh, no, I'm a mayor and I'm mad because people hold me accountable. Well, that's when the tone shifts. Oh, no, I'm mad. I'm a chief of police and I'm black, but I'm acting like I'm white and I'm treating people like a racist bitch. That's when the posture changes. Oh, no, I'm not going to do anything, but I'm going to arrest you if you come in here. And that's when the pattern begins to show itself. They're fine. They were all fine with me until now, right? They didn't care when I was nobody. They're very clear. There was a very clear dynamic that developed over time. And it became easier to recognize the more experience you had it, right? They're they're fine with me when I'm asking, when I'm not at a problem, right? When I'm asking questions, when I'm documenting, and when I'm not forcing really anything to light. They're officers who will talk. They're officers who are engaged. They will treat me normally, and that part's real. I have it. Talk to them. My daughter loves them. I've raised my daughter to be a bootlicker. I joke that she said that, but I want her to trust the police. I'm trying to create a world where people trust the police. I'm not people. I'm never gonna trust them because they're dicks and they fucked me. But I'm not saying you guys shouldn't. That is definitively me. I helped accomplish this. So if you keep your mouth shut, don't do anything wrong, don't ever break the law for sure, but also don't do anything to report them breaking the law, you'll be fine. And then they won't fuck you. Just if you see them illegally doing something, ignore it. Otherwise, they'll fuck you. That's what they're doing here. That's okay. I have a veteran's pension and my home is a veteran's loan. You guys can't take it. So I can never pay you. You're barking up a tree you can't beat. Ever. But that changes the moment that somebody goes wrong on their end, right? Because when we look at it, we go, well, look, you're fine. When I'm not a problem, when I'm not asking questions, when I'm not documenting, when I'm not forcing anything into light, when I'm not forcing officers who will talk to engage, when I'm not, when you're not treating me equally, and normally that part's real. That changes the moment because something goes wrong on their end, y'all lose it. That changes the moment where there is accountability. It changes the moment something is documented that they can't easily explain. At that point, the shift happens. It happens quickly because it's on paper, right? You gotta fix it. The shift's not subtle, but it's noticeable. It's not, it's not, it's consistent in a way, and it's part of the pattern. Because the day of the stop, you bring forward all that forward, right, of the day. Context matters. The context background noise, the context in which allows you to kind of understand what happened next, not something that you can treat as isolated. Well, I not left my house all day, not once. And not for any reason, just because it happened during that time. Then there was an urgency and no contact and no issue that required intervention. The matter is big because it examines what justification is being offered and what is not urgent enough to happen when I was sitting there all day. The moment I leave, everything changes. Because the timing is everything, folks. I leave my house to go to the child therapy. Something scheduled, something important, something that cannot just be pushed back without consequence. And in that exact moment, I get pulled over. That is when everything starts. Not earlier, not later, but the moment where the disruption would become immediate and unavoidable. Now, it wasn't unavoidable. I could have walked away any time, but hey, when you look at that with all honesty, you cannot ignore the timing means. Nothing happens all day, and then everything happens all at once. The moment I leave for something else that matters, it's not neutral timing. That's something, that's someone that can be dismissed as coincidence without ignoring the sequence entirely. And that's why they waited. That's why it matters, and that's the impact. My child ends up 20 minutes late to therapy because of what happened. And not on a minor detail. It's not something that can be brushed aside. She had nothing to do with any of this. She had no part in any dispute, no part in any investigation, and nothing, really, no part that would justify her affectation or being affected. And that's the one who was incapacitated. That's where she moves beyond me. That's where it becomes something that shows discipline, but in that moment extends the boyfriend or the person that they're dealing with. So we're going to stop real quick. I'm going to say, hold on. I want to go back. So, what picture do we need to move? I think we need to move. Well, anyway, I know what we need to move. I'll move it later. So, that brings us to the phone itself, right? I was going to grab some shots out of that last section, but let's just do it. We got 7 people here. That might mean 17 or 700. Who cares? You guys will watch it at some point. I'm going to lay it all out and walk away. No emotions, no strings attached. I lost my license tonight. I can actually go get it back. I'll have to. I mean, I still have a regular license just to go down and get my bike, which I did already, so I'm good. That being said, they take my phone. That's kind of the problem, and that's where everything changes, because now this is no longer a basic interaction. This is seizure of personal property. It's happening without structure, without it. It's supposed to actually exist before something like that occurs. Not a small step, not a routine, not a. It's an actual decision, right? And that decision has legal implications, whether any acknowledge it or not, in the moment or not. The justification being used is that my phone contains evidence of stalking harassment, and that's exactly why this matters. What they believe, though, is that then there's a process they're required to follow. You don't act on belief alone. You don't go to a judge. You establish probable cause, you obtain a warrant, you define what you're looking for, and that's how it works. This is how rights are protected. This is how overreach is prevented. And what happened there is not what processed on the dual dynamic. What stood out was the scene that was not carefully application of the law. It was not a clear explanation of authority. What stood out was the shift in focus away from what mattered and toward what did not. Instead of grounding their actions in process, that the attention moved from my tone, my language, and I was interacting at that moment. That is not enforcement. That's deflection. Because when the legality of that, what is happening, is the focus, and instead the focus becomes how someone is speaking, then you tell something about how solid state is foundation and of what action really is. I was being polite. Let me just go to the bottom. All right, you're not going to throw a fucking be nice at the end of a ungodly motion that's so fucking long, talking shit. If you want to add a okay, you're okay, add it. But the fight's there. The fight's there for all of them. The fight's there for everything we've been doing. There's no reason these people should be winning unless they're being helped. That's it. And they're all saying we're being helped. So in your argument, I would say, what's any difference than you going to your peer at, say, the board of another election center, who also has the same degree as you, as Riley going to what the fuck that dude's name is with the same degree as him? Where's that problem that they talked about? Somehow you two must be giving each other all kinds of inside information, right? Working together. But then that means we have to recuse every single Bradley team. And Rosenbaum and Levesque. Right? And so that's where we end up. That's where we end up with all of this, folks. Is like they don't know what to do. Because to get what they want, they have to throw people under the bus. And if they throw people under the bus, they don't get what they want. And that's the problem. I don't have a want. I don't care. I love my friends, but I feel like I free them when I tell them their truths to people. Truths they can't tell. You should have never been down there in that bunker. You should have never been anywhere near us. You should have never been near my bike. You should have been making charges, complaints, or anything above and beyond that. You had no right to do so. You did it. I stopped you. I fixed it, but you still owe me. And then you did the same thing to my friends and my citizens and my city and my county, all the way up to the petitioner's office, to the clerk. Now, I've given you every piece of documentation there. I fully expect that within the next 30 days max, that you guys are going to get every last iota of information I own and deposit it in my PDF 1. And if it doesn't fit in PDF 1, erase PDF 2 and put it in that afterwards. Yes, Garen. Yes. Anyway, there he is. Let's turn it off. Here's where we're at, folks. Like, I get it. I dozed off. It's late. It's not really that late. The bottom line is that we're still stuck here. We're still stuck here dealing with the same fucking thing over and over and over. The way they keep doing things, the way they keep acting, the way they keep saying things. I get it. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I really am. And I'm sorry that I seem so annoying, that I seem so unhinged, that I seem so unwelcome with the thoughts that are going on. But if you were me, how would you feel? If you were me, what would you think when you knew the Constitution you swore to uphold as a military member was getting shit on like no one's business, right? And you just did, and you stood by and you watched. Because it's not about one traffic stop or one officer or whether someone liked it or didn't like it. Every situation I deal with gets reduced down into something small, something easy to dismiss, something that people allow to look away from the bigger picture. Now, what I was gonna do here tonight is fill out the full record as a person who experienced it. As a person who has been documenting over time, asserting over time a claim based on a pattern, right? That did not begin that day. And it didn't end that day either. And the problem is because if you don't look at the full pattern, you'll never understand what happened. And I am not speculating from the outside looking in. I am speculating about what something might have been, right? I am speaking from direct experience from somebody who's had repeated interactions, documented conduct, and a timeline that shows consistency in how it's been handled over time. Now, when you look at the timeline honestly, without trying to explain in a way sort of a piece by piece, the exclusion becomes very difficult to avoid. And that's the history that led here. This didn't start with a traffic stop. It didn't start with a phone. It didn't start with one officer having a bad day. It goes back to a pattern of interaction that the same department with things that are normal until they aren't. Communication that exists until it doesn't. And then where the tone shifts from moment accountability and becomes part of the conversation. Now, there have been times when interactions were professional, when communication was open, and when there was no issue, right? We all had them. That's important to say because that's not about pretending every interaction has negative connotations. But that wouldn't be very accurate either. It helps not help. I guess it would not help to explain what is happening. The issue is not a very interaction is bad. The issue is that the pattern changes when the pressures arrived or applied, when questions are asked, and when documentation starts to exist that plus people in an eviscerating position would start to have answers for the low priority look. Now, that's what I think of when I think of shifts. That's what I think of when I think of tone changes, and that's what I think of when I think of posture changes, right? Tell people what you want. Now, that's when the pattern begins to show itself, though, too, in other aspects, our emotions, our feelings. We see it. You don't want to be wrong, and you don't want someone else to admit you are wrong or that they took your advice on you and they're being wrong. But hey, they're fine with me until they're not. You know that. I know that. We all know that. There's a very clear dynamic that it develops over time, right? And it's one that it becomes easier to recognize the more you experience it. It files in a way that with me that I'm not allowed to actually be the problem. And when I'm asking questions or not asking them, and when I'm documenting them, then I will be not forced into anything in the heart into the light. And there's officers who will talk about who will engage and who will treat me normally, and that's part of the real. They don't want that for a reason. They don't want me saying they're guilty in any way, shape, or form, even if on a reel. Because if you get 30,000 a person on a reel and you got whatever numbers per people, you get money. Money that I don't really give a fuck about, but money. But that changes the moment into something that's documented, something we can't explain. It's a pointed point. The shift happens. It happens quickly. And that, I see. And then at this point, the shift happens and it happens quickly. And that shift is not subtle, period. It's noticeable. And it's consistent. So it is what it is, I guess. We'll stay here for a second. But, this is the kind of mentality that they've been allowing to continue and guide us. Well, I don't know what to do here, so what we will do is yes, Karen, I see it. It's late. I'm tired. I'm sorry. My whole script just turned upside down, which is kind of weird. How do I flip that? No. Well, that's weird. There we go. I fixed it. Listen, I get it. I'm tired. It's been a long day. I'm sorry. I'm dozing off. It is what it is. That's why Garen was calling. That's why I'm still sitting here, half tired, half asleep. I'm tired of this shit. I honestly could have ended this. I was ready to end it. Like, I have my money. I'm getting paid every day. I don't have to worry about it. But they want to keep fucking with me. And that's the problem. They want to come take my phone on a traffic stop so I can't go to doctor's appointments or answer anything. I have nothing. I have nothing available. I don't know when my next doctor's appointment at, when my meds are supposed to be taken. Everything was in that phone, and they stole it. I'll give you what you want to know, whatever it is about Angel or Baez or Tony or fucking Carry On you want to know. But I'm not hateful of them because of their skin color. It's just not right. I'm a problem with Puerto Ricans at all. And I never have. And I've always been of that shift. But they're fine with me until they're not, right? That's the clear dynamic that develops over time. It's one that becomes easier to recognize the more you experience it. They're fine with me, and when I'm not a problem, when I'm not asking questions, when I'm not documenting, and when I'm not forcing anything into the light. There are officers who will talk, who will engage, who will treat me normally. And that part's real. Saw it tonight. Again, I do apologize. I'm tired. It's been a long day. If I do doze off, it's because of that. But that changes the moment something goes wrong on their end. That changes the moment there's accountability. And they don't like that. Like, that changes the moment something is documented they can't easily explain. At that point, the shift happens. It's quick. Shift's noticeable, but it's not subtle. That's the problem. So you realize that it's consistent, it's noticeable, and it's part of the pattern, and it's the day of the stop. Now, bring all that forward to the day this happens, because that context matters. The context is not the digital background. The context, what allows you to understand why what happened next, is not something I'm going to treat as isolated. You were focused on one thing, your driver's license, but something else happened, right? And when you see that, how does that affect you? How does it make you feel? You tell me. It's rough. So I personally have not left my house all day, not once, not for any reason. And nothing happened during the entire daytime today. There was no urgency, no contact, no issue that required intervention. And that requires or matters because it establishes that whatever justification is being offered for not urgent enough to happen while I was sitting there all day, well, that's wrong. Because then the moment I leave, everything changed. That was their timing, right? I left my house to take my child to therapy. Something has scheduled, something important, something that cannot just be blown off, pushed back without consequence. And that's the exact moment I got pulled over. Now, that is everything when you want starts, not earlier, not later. It's beyond the bish when I don't know where there might have been disruption that might be intermediate and unavoidable. So when you look at that honestly, like, you can ignore that the timing means, you can ignore the happenings all day. You can official. Oh, fuck. Hold on. You know what? I haven't taken any breaks this whole thing, and I know I've dozed off at least once. I need. Oh my god, I can't flip that. I flip that and it gives it to me upside down. It's bad. So I know we're at the top of a paragraph, not a normal place I think is a stop, but we're gonna take a quick stop so I can kind of refresh myself and finish this podcast up in a way that's acceptable to me and you and worthy of my audience, not me dozing off here going, no. So I do apologize, but it's kind of boring, this part here. I've already got it down. So we're going to pause. We're going to take some station identification, and we'll be right back. I thank you for tuning in. And again, appreciate you looking, ask questions, send emails, do what you got to do.
Here at Unplugged with Aaron Knapp, we like to thank our sponsors. We have a few unofficial sponsors tonight, and they are definitely not paid sponsorships. I want to throw out there a big thank you to Joseph Jones and Eric Jones of the Lorraine Daily and the Vermilion Daily. They have a local news page. You should check them out. They do plenty of great work broadcasting all the news that is the news that you want to have in Lorain and Lorain County. So check them out. Also, please, if you need any legal services, feel free to reach out to Robert Gargas. You can find him listed online. He's a fine attorney and comes highly recommended by yours truly. And last but not least, I want to mention DNC Radio. Please make sure you check out one of the up-and-coming internet hip-hop stations and all of their shows. They put on a lot of shows. You have the Never Outdone show. You also have the Eric Bowen show, Speak Up, Speak Out. So please make sure you guys check them out as well if you're looking for your latest and up-to-date hip-hop artistry. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a non-paid sponsorship brought to you by... Hey there, folks. Aaron here at Unplugged with Aaron Knapp. I want to give you a quick reminder for everyone watching that the City of Lorain holds its regular City Council meetings on the first and third Monday of every month. And those meetings are not just for council members. They are for residents. If you care about what happens in your city, and if you speak or want to speak on an issue, ask a question, or simply be present and informed, showing up matters. Participation matters. Even sitting in the room and listening matters. You do not need to be an expert on any of this. You do not need permission to care. You do not need to do anything other than just show up. So check the agenda, folks. Mark your calendar. And if something affects your neighborhood, your family, or your future, take a seat, raise your hand, and make your voice part of the record. Lorain City Council, first and third Monday. Your city, your meetings. Those council meetings start at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and they're held inside the City Hall. Make sure you attend this Monday's meeting. Hey there, folks.
Hey, we're right back here live. I know you guys see me here. Kind of looking here. You're right, Gene. I have been through a rough day today. It was a long day. Secondly, to Eric, I would answer. Eric asked, "Were you camered up?" No, I wasn't. Unfortunately, it's one of my daughter's therapy appointment. I didn't really expect to be stopped. It's a 3-minute drive. So I left the home, drove to Guidestone, 3 minutes away. They stopped me on 57. They came up with every reason to pull me out of the car. Like, first it was they pulled me over. Oh, do you realize you shifted lanes there illegally? Then they gave me 2 things I did. You didn't have your blinker on because I have my left blinker on, not my right. So when I hit the outside lane, I go to the outside lane. I didn't turn my right blinker on. So they were right. They had me. They were right. They had me on a basic stop, but they already knew what they wanted to do. They wanted to exercise that motion. It was granted that day. They knew what they were doing. They came out, they stopped me, and the guy says, "Hey, I don't feel safe on the side of the road, yada, yada, yada. Can I search? Can I get you out of the car?" I explained why I didn't want to, but I knew they were going to eventually, so I got out. On the side of the road, he wants to search me. He says, "I'm going to search for officer safety." Well, okay, you do your thing, right? Which he did, and found nothing. But he got really close, and I felt his body cam and his chest press against me from behind like he wanted sweet, sweet lemons. And he was about to lean in and whisper, "I just don't know where you have to go later, but if you're not going anywhere, you should call me." Actually, what he said was, "We're going to arrest you." No, I'm sorry. We're taking your phone because we have a warrant for it. I was like, all right, that's fine. But you have to tell me you have a warrant for it before you take it. He swiped it out of my front pocket without even telling me. Like I was a kangaroo and he was stealing my bitch. But I get it. It's cool. Like, I'm not going to cry about it. It is what it is. You want to be a crybaby? Be a crybaby. Not me. I'm not the one going and filing protection orders like Ray Carrion. You guys are seeing that. Like, I could have gone out right after, but why? You're just gonna go, "Oh, you're a little bitch." Now he does it, but I'm gonna say nothing, not a word. Okay, cool. That's on you guys. Like, you want to have this guy doing what he does, you do it. But I personally do not feel like I should allow that to happen. I do want to give one more quick shout out because I like
Hey there,
this
folks.
guy.
DNC Radio is your home for real conversations, real community voices, and independent radio that doesn't answer to the corporate filters or political scripts. From music to live talk, community issues to uncensored discussion, DNC Radio is powered by the people, not the algorithms. If you're tired of sanitized media and ready for something real, tune into DNC Radio. You can follow and listen right now at facebook.com/DNC Radio OH. That's facebook.com/DNC Radio OH. DNC Radio.
There you go, folks. A little quick ad there for look, they're not advertising me. They're not supporting me. They do support me, the individual. I like DNC. I like their DJs. At least two of them I've been on their shows. So 1000% go to Eric Bowens. 1000% go to DJ Statigious and hook it up, baby. Like, they're great people. They got great shows. They're providing you knowledge, and they're trying to educate you. So you can be unavoidable or avoidable. It's up to you. But, we're going to go back to where I probably left off, maybe. I don't know. Because it's been a long day, guys. I'm sorry. Like, I leave my house to take my child to therapy, and something's scheduled, right? Something that's important, something that cannot simply be pushed back without consequence. And that's the exact moment the LPD pulls me over. Look, that's when everything started, not earlier and not later, but at the moment where the disruption would be immediate and unavoidable. And they knew it. They had 3 days to get me. I sooner or later would have left. But when you look at that, honestly, you cannot ignore what the timing means. Nothing happens all day. And then everything happens all at once the moment I leave for something that matters. Well, hey, that's not neutral timing. That's not something that can be dismissed as coincidence without ignoring the sequence entirely. Now, it looks like they waited. And that matters. That impact is what matters. God, my kid, everyone's seen it. My child ends up 20 minutes late to therapy because of what Lorraine police did. And that's not a minor detail. Like, they even acknowledged it in our interview. Like, oh, it's important to get kids to therapy. It's important they understand this, that, and the other, except for apparently when you arrest their dad. Or try to. Right? Now, my daughter has nothing to do with any of this. She is not part of the dispute, not part of any investigation, not part of anything that would justify her being affected. But was she tonight? Yeah. 20 minutes later, a therapy appointment. So imagine they spent 30 minutes of it talking about me. Great for my kid. Thanks, Joseph. Thanks, Scott. But she's the one that's impacted, right? She's the one where this moves beyond me. And that's where it becomes something that shows how decisions are in the moment extended beyond the person they are dealing with. Because before I move on to the next section, I'm going to say this, the stop itself. Before I move on to that, I want to talk about this last section. You stopped my daughter. You stopped her, whatever patience, whatever argument, whatever law you had to say. She ended up in my custody for the end of the night, not in jail. That means you guys did some bullshit and you fucked with her. So for that, I have when a stop happens, though, that's when it becomes very clear, like to you, the human, that's not being handled as a neutral situation, grounded in clear explanation or any sort of authority, right? That shift is almost immediate. And instead of being told what's happening in a way that is grounded in law and process, the litigation or the interaction becomes to a moment of control and justification. You can feel the shift, right? When you are standing there, because somebody, instead of clarity, you get posture. Instead of explanation, you get focus. Of all things, that does not actually address what's happening. The phone. Like, I'm not going to subpoena bullshit. But when you take the phone, and that's where everything changes, because now you know it's no longer basic interaction. This is a seizure of personal property. And it's happening without the structure that is supposed to exist when something like that occurs. So if prescription and statements were supposed to be provided, where are they? But hey, that's just a small step, right? It's not routine, not a decision. The decision has legal implications, and they acknowledge it in the moment or not, right? That's their belief. But the justification that's used in my phone context, evidence, or stalking harassment, and that is exactly why this matters. Because if that's the way they believe, Well, then there's a process they are now actually required to follow. And you do not act on belief alone. You go to a judge, you have them rule, you establish procedure, probable cause, you obtain a warrant, you define what they're looking for. That's how the system works. That's how rights are protected. And honestly, that's how overreach is prevented. So what happens here did not happen or follow that in a vacuum or that process. Well, the set on scene was that, well, what should out of the scene that was not careful in its application of the law, right? Like, what's the problem, right? That's the question every lawyer asks. Every prosecutor and judge asks, what's the problem? What stood out on that scene or that problem that was not careful application of the law, not a clear explanation of authority? What stood out was the shift in focus away from what mattered most, right? And toward what did not. Instead of grounding their actions like we talk about when we get upset, the attention moved from my tone, my language, and how I was reacting in that moment. And that's not okay. That's enforcement. That's deflection. The legality of what is happening is not the focus. And instead, the focus becomes how someone is speaking. It tells you something about how solid their foundation of that action can be. I was being polite, as he said, the cop said multiple times. Well, at one point, the officer made it clear that he believed his conduct was justified because he was just being polite. And that statement alone shows the disconnect. Politeness is not a legal standard. Show me the law. And it does not replace the requirement to act within the law. Show me that law. And you're not going to take somebody's property, disrupt their obligations, and reduce their whatever, their entire obligation or interaction to be done. All because of what you told them. So, again, everyone's got a secret to hide, right? How long until they force your bitch ass into becoming a fucking government official again? That's the last thing I think about when I think about my boy Bob. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Like, that's where we're at with this, right? You can't really go beyond where we're at. They took this to the next level. They are actually going after me and trying to file protection orders. You guys are subpoenaing my phone. I got a new phone, but I promise you, like, this jinky phone's great. Oh, by the way, out of all the people in this world that I actually love and like, I would like it if Amber could call me. Oh, you can't. Message me on my phone, on my Facebook, so we can talk. Because I can no longer talk to you. They stole my ability to talk to people. I don't care if you wanted to see what was in my phone. Nothing is secret in there. It's messages. Yeah, sure. Some things are secret, I guess, because they're attorney-client privilege or whatnot, or patient-client privilege. But beyond that, I don't care what you guys know. I am who I am. I stand up for what I stand up for, and I love who I love. Even if I close it, I still love them. So I'll still be there, no matter what platform you're on. In the meantime, search me out, love me, like me, follow me. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We'll talk to you later. I appreciate you for staying, even though I kind of dozed off a little. I am tired. It's been a long day, but we'll get back at it tomorrow. And again, if you don't think it's right for Lorraine police to call and basically to get a warrant and then steal someone's wallet, write them a letter, email, lpdrecordsrequest.org. Now, same thing with the judges. They did this. Message them all. Write an order. Write a real order. Don't leave it to the interpretation of me or a client. That's it. Anyway, with that, I say I bid you adieu. Thank you, and have a good night.